The truth is, money does not go on tree, but money has a tree. So money does not grow on tree, but money has a tree. So if money has a tree, it means that money has seedlings. There are money seedlings because you need to plant the seedling for the money to grow. So what happened is, what is the seedling? What is the seedling of money? The seedling of money is financial education. Financial education is the ultimate money seedling. In other words, if I want to grow wealthy, I need to have a proper seedling in my hand. And the seedling that I need to have is financial education. Now, all of us have education. When it comes to money, different people have different level of education. There are two kinds of education. There is an education of the rich, and there is education for everyone else. That means the rich have their own kind of education. That means there is an education that when you have it, you'll be able to see opportunities where other people are seeing obstacles. You will see opportunities where other people are seeing difficulties. Why? Because opportunities are not seen with our eyes. Opportunities are seen in our mind. It means that the moment my mind is fully developed, the moment my mind is fully enlightened, I will go around living my life seeing opportunities. And many a time, people begin to wonder, how are you seeing this opportunity? Oh, Madam Joy, how do you see that? Mr. Stanley, how do you see that? The point is, you have developed your mind, you have properly educated your mind that you can now see things where other people are not seeing anything. Because the missing structure of wealth is education. The missing structure of wealth is education. Now, in the word of Caesar, what happened is that many people, education is two-edged sword. It can either help you or it can hurt you. That means the kind of education I have, when it comes to money, when it comes to wealth creation, my education can hurt me, and my education can also help me. Now, why are we here today? And why are we here all the time to learn? We're here because the moment your education changes, your opportunities will change. Because the moment your education change, your opportunities will change. The moment you have a different level of education when it comes to wealth creation, you will begin to see things where other people are not seeing anything. Why? Because our mind must be properly enlightened for us to build wealth. So today I want to talk to you. I want to share with you some fundamentals kind of education as far as wealth creation is concerned. And it's kind of a trinity in nature, because this is the things that all of us see every single day. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about, the three things that all of us do have opportunity to have, but we use differently. Now, the first one is time. Everyone has time, and I think that what makes God God is that we have a social justice system where we all have time equally. The richest among us have the same time as the poorest among us. So the richest among us have the same time as the poorest among us. Then what differentiates the richest from the poorest is how time is used. Now, time cannot be managed because time is constant. Anything that is constant cannot be managed. Therefore, because it's constant, what can we do with it? We can use it. Therefore, but we cannot manage it. Now, how I use it determines how my life is going to be. So 3 things in terms of this trinity I'm sharing with you. And if you have this understanding of these 3 things, it's going to be faster for you to create bigger wealth anywhere in the world that you find yourself. So it's about time, it's about wealth, it's about work, and it's about money. Now, these 3 things, we hear about them every single day of our life, but how we relate to them are totally different. Time, work, and money. Time, work, and money. What kind of education do I need to have about time that will differentiate my life and make me wealthy? Now, this is one of the things I need us to take cognizance of. We are created to live a life of freedom. However, for a life of freedom to happen, certain things have to be put in place. Now, if I created to live a life of freedom, certain things have to be put in place, certain orientation have to be gotten, certain emphases have to be developed. So, how can I understand time? How can I understand money? How can I understand money? How can I understand work that will change my life forever? And that is what my conversation is around today. And I believe it's going to be quite enlightening for all of us as we pay attention to this. Now, the world is designed and the world is programmed to make us sell our time for money. And every time we think about making more money, we think about how can I sell more of my time? How can I get another job, or how can I get a bigger job added to what I am doing, or how can I get a job that is bigger than what I'm doing today, that can pay me more pounds, that can pay me more dollars, that can pay me more, whatever currency of the world you will earn from. This is not bad on its own. By the way, one of the things that I say to people, that if you have to sell your time for money, make sure that the money is big. Why? Because if the money is not big, you are literally not going to live a life that you want. But that is not good enough, because the moment I'm selling my time for money, the downside of selling all my time for money is that the more of my time that I sell for money, the less time I will have to do anything meaningful. So, and we are created. We all have 24 hours a day. So we have to sleep. We have to relate with our family. Then we have to go to work. Now, then what happened? So people send their time, trade their time for money. Now, when people trade their time for money, what then happened to them? They will take this time, then they will use the money to borrow. So people go to work to earn money just that they can borrow, so that they can pay the fundamentals, so that they can use it to take care of the family. And then what we have forgotten is this, is the fact that humans, the older we get, the weaker we become, and the bigger our bills are. I'll say that again. The older we get, the weaker we become, and the bigger our bills become. Now, so people have overrated strength. Strength is one of the overrated elements on this planet today. I was in a meeting this morning. I was telling some people, I was looking at some elderly people in that meeting, and I said, sir, when you were younger, there are some certain things you thought when you were younger and all your energies are there. You thought you're just going to be that energetic for the rest of your life. But that is against nature, because the older we get, the weaker our body becomes. But because we get older does not mean our bill becomes older. By the way, the older we become, the more young and youthful our bill becomes, because there are some certain things we have to change, even in our eating habits, the things that we do with our lives. But this is what happened to us. We need to realize that how I relate to time determines how my life will end up. How I relate to time determines the kind of life I'm going to create. Now, most people do not respect time enough to be able to leverage time. Now, time is not money. We can create money with time, but time is not money. We create money with time, but time is not money. So if I create money with time, therefore, what is time? Time is life. Time is more than money. Time is more than money. So what do I do with my time? How can I begin to relate differently with my time? This is what happened. Most of us begin time by making income. So we sell our time for income. But what happened is this. If I work so hard to make money, what do I need to do? I need to make sure that money also work hard for me. Part of the money that I make must be able to work hard for me to be able to have leverage with my life. Because you see, life without leverage is a burden. In other words, as we go in our journey in life, we must begin to think about what we do with our money that can also work for us. So I tell people, it is unfair to self if you work hard for money and part of what you work hard for does not work hard for you. It is unfair to self if I work hard for money and part of what I work hard for does not work hard for me. Therefore, if I have that understanding, I will make it very clear to myself and non-negotiable that part of what I earn must earn for me. Part of what I make must be properly investigated and must begin to work for me in my life. Now, this is the first education we must have about time, that time must be leveraged rather than being traded. You must leverage your time rather than trading your time. Now, we all started life trading time. But the truth is, if we want to live more meaningful life, to be able to do more bigger things with our time, we must begin to make money in spite of our time. Now, if I can't make money in spite of my time, along the way, I'm going to be facing a lot of burden. I'm going to be having a couple of limitations. And this is what happened to a lot of people on the journey. So the first thing is about timing. You must understand that time creates money, but time is bigger than money. Time is life. When the true measure of our life is measured, when our life, the summary of our life is called lifetime, it means that when it is all over, we will say the time of life that I have. It means that life is measured by time. Life is measured by time. Therefore, I say to people that wealth and health have similarity. The similarity of wealth and health is time. When someone goes to the hospital and they say you are and they say,
Yes.
and they say this person has 10 years to live. They're just talking about the state of his health. Like that is how long you can live. Or someone says, so how wealthy am I? It depending on the time I'm going to have to be able to live my life. Now, so the first thing I need you to begin to have a big understanding of is time. You need to respect your time to leverage your time. And this is what I asked. This is a question I asked about time. How many times will I be paid for the one-time work that I do? How many times will I be paid for the work that I do? You know, the structure of the world, the kind of education that most people have about work, is this. I work for 30 days, I work for 2 weeks, and I get paid. And when I get paid, I will take the money that I earn and I will use it to pay my bills. And then I go back to work again and I begin to work for another 2 weeks or 1 month to earn another money to pay my bills. In other words, the money is not producing anything for me. The money does not have any leverage for me. But this is what I say. If I earn many times for the work that I do, how do I make sure that the money that I earn from the work that I do earn many times more for me? Because part of what I earn must earn more for me if my work does not give me that level of leverage. So, because most of our work are sacrificial period of life. What does that mean? We're sacrificing every other thing in our life just to earn money. We sacrifice relationship. We sacrifice the loved ones. We sacrifice things that are important to us. So what happens is that because we are responsible people, we want to be responsible. So we want to make sure that we go to work, we do more stuff, we get these and join them. But this is what happened. While we are busy earning all the money, life is not waiting. Expressions are not waiting. Things that matters to us are not waiting. All right. You see, the truth of the matter is that some things that are very timeless. There are some things that are priceless. What do I mean by that? The moment that our children go to school, the moment they are graduating from school, all those moments are timeless. They are priceless. We cannot quantify them with money. The people say there are things that money cannot buy. Yes, but this is what I say to people. There are things that are priceless. They are priceless because they mean so much to our soul. Now, money, time is important. So how do you use your time? What kind of education do you have about your time? How many times will I be paid? How many times will I be paid for a one-time work? How many times will I be paid for a one-time work? So if my work does not pay me many times, I begin to ask myself, how can I take part of what my work make and make sure that I put it into what can pay me many times? Now, this is education about time. This is education that most people do not have about time. So time must be respected for time to produce for us. If you don't respect time, time cannot produce for you because your life is measured in time. You cannot manage time, but you can convert time. So what do you want to do? What kind of education do you want to do? You want to have? You want to begin to use part of your time to begin to use part of your time to build equity that can make money for you in spite of yourself. You want to begin to use part of what your time makes to begin to create equity that can create wealth for you. So that's the first thing. You need to understand time. You need to respect time. When we look at the continent where we come from, we realize that one of the biggest problems on the continent of Africa, in Nigeria in particular, is a problem that time is not highly respected. And go out and check it. Everyone that does not value time can never be wealthy. Because the truth of the matter is, time must be valued for wealth to be created. Because if I don't value time, I will be spending a bigger time to create more wealth, small wealth, rather than using small time to create big wealth. So most people spend a bigger time of their life for little things in life. So what do you use your time for? How do you begin to educate yourself about your time? People are time is more valuable than money. Now, I study economics in school, and it's quite funny that we mix up this basic economics in life to say that something of higher value is what should buy something of a lesser value. Now, we are using something of a lesser value for an higher value. So we are using an higher value stuff, which is time, to buy something of a lesser value. We should be using something of a lesser value to buy higher value. Most of us are spending our time, which is more valuable than money, to buy money. Because we take our time and we use it on a job, which is not bad on its own, but this is what happened. You cannot keep spending the rest of your time just to make money. So, your education about timing is important in wealth creation. You have to begin to respect time. You have to begin to convert your time to something that is lasting. That's number one. Number two is what I call work. Most people work for work's sake, but that is not the education of the rich. The rich, the wealthy in mind, does not just work for work's sake, you work for wealth's sake. In other words, you work to create wealth. Don't just work to work. Your work should create wealth for you. Your work should not just be about paying bills in life. Your work should be about creating wealth in life. Now, this is what I measure. Two persons have worked for 15 years. At the end of 15 years, what do we see? One is getting tired. Because this is what I say to people. Work can either make you grow wealthy, or work can make you grow weary. Work can either make you grow wealthy, or work can make you grow weary. Both the rich and the middle class work, but the difference is the results they get from work. So what do I want to do? I don't want to increase the time I work. I want to increase the value of the work that I do. I don't want to increase the time I work. So I want to increase the value of the work that I do. Look, this is what I say. This is what I mean. If I work and I make 20 pounds an hour, or 50 pounds an hour, or 100 pounds an hour, I don't want to work and increase the work that I do, the time that I work. No, I want to increase the value of my time. I want to be able to say, how can I turn 100 pounds an hour to 500 pounds an hour? How can I increase the value of my time? Because you see, I don't want to spend more time to work because I have to do other things with my life. So what does that mean? It means that you don't work for work's sake, you work for value, for wealth's sake. To means you are working to create wealth. You are working to create wealth. That means you want to work to create wealth. So today, what do you do? How do you go about that in this education? How do you go about that? Make sure that the work that you do, part of the money that you make, is creating wealth for you. By the way, what is wealth? Wealth is anything that you can use to buy yourself freedom. That means work is anything that you own that can buy you freedom so that you can live life on your own terms. That means, for reason, I've used part of the money that I make to buy an apartment. And then this apartment is making me money. Now, in a way, I have created a form of wealth. So because the essence of work is not just to work, the essence of work is to create wealth. Now, many people do not understand the purpose of work in this regard as far as our wealth creation is concerned. And because they do not understand this, they begin to work. And people tell me, I love to work. I tell you, man, I love to work too. But I don't just love to work. I want to work to create wealth. Because in the long run, My work is going to be measured by the kind of result that I create. So what result are you creating? So you need to begin to measure your work based on the wealth that you are creating. It's like someone that works in a factory. Let me use an example. Someone that works in a manufacturing firm. This person works in a manufacturing firm. Now, if you work in a manufacturing firm, he knows that the essence of the working is to produce something tangible. So if the person spends 6 hours working and there is nothing tangible, the work is nonsense. The work is nothing, because the work must produce something tangible. It's not enough to work. My work must create wealth for me. My work must create wealth for me. Now, in our life, these are the understanding that we must begin to have. In our work life, these are the understanding that we must begin to have. As a family, we must begin to ask ourselves a very simple thing. I say to people, every family must always have an economy summit with themselves, either once a week, once a month, once in a quarter, where the family sit down and we ask ourselves, what exactly are we creating? What exactly are we creating? What are we making happen for ourselves? Because you see, your work must lead you to what I call freedom lifestyle. What does that mean? You must have a freedom lifestyle date. How does that work? It means that we must have a date in our life when our asset must be able to fund our lifestyle. When we must say to ourselves that at this time, it does not mean we stop working, but work is now a choice, it's not a must. That means we go to work because we love to do it, not necessarily because our bills depend on it. Because what we once love can begin to irritate us if it becomes a necessity for paying our bills. You get to a point and you begin to look at it and say to yourself, I don't think I'm liking this thing anymore, but I still have to go there. Why do I have to go there? Because the bills depend on it. So why are you working? You're working to create wealth. You're working to create wealth. You're working to build wealth in your life so that you can be able to live life on your own terms. Let me tell you, people, the reason why most people are not getting so much done with their life is because we are missing up on these things. What time means, what work means, and what to do with money. Now, let me quickly talk about money. Money should help you to buy back your life. Money should help you to buy back some of your time. So what do you want to do with your money? Some of the things you want to do with your money is to buy things that can buy you time. What do you want to do with your money? I remember one time I owned this apartment about somewhere in Lagos Island, about 18 units of it in Nigeria. And by the time I was trying to put this apartment together, this apartment, I built this apartment so that it can buy me time. So money to me is not about showing off. It's about showing up. So money is not to show off, money is to show up. I show up for my responsibility. I show up for my life. I show up for everything that matters to me. So many people miss it up because they think they want to use their money to ball rather than using their money to build empire. The first thing about your money is not to ball with it. The first thing about your money is to build an empire with it. It is a proceed of your empire, and your empire can be as portable as you want it. Your purpose of your empire is to fund your lifestyle. I tell people, vanity is not bad on its own. It's just that vanity is expensive. So what happened to vanity is that you must build an income-producing equity that can fund your vanity. So most people never build anything that can fund their vanity. Rather, their sweat is funding their vanity. And vanity is a bottomless pit. If you step into it, you always want more of it. You always want the luxury. You always want something good. You always want all of these beautiful things. But what happens is this: whatever money buys, it takes money to maintain it. So if money buys something, money, we have to maintain it. If money buys you a car, money, we have to maintain the car. But this is what happened. You will now have to go and use your strength to make the money to maintain what is already depreciating. And that is why whatever money buys, it takes money to maintain it. The question I'm asking today is that, have you bought something that can maintain what you are doing? Now, I say to people, if I'm going to borrow money, I will borrow money. In the Bible, for those people that read it, the Bible says that the borrower is a servant to a lender. Now, but this is what happened to a borrower. It's not all borrowers that are servants to the lender directly, because in the education of the rich, when the rich borrow, they make sure that they transfer the servanthood to the what they borrow for. So what am I saying? It means that if I borrow to buy a house, the house must be able to pay back the lender. In other words, the house is serving both the lender and me. Because this is what I say to people. The borrower must have an higher intelligence than the lender. Because the borrower must make money for the lender and himself. The borrower must make money for himself and the lender. Now, this is what happened. Most borrowers do not know how to make money for themselves, let alone for the lender. In other words, they become a servant to the lender. What does it mean to be a servant? It means that you become a leverage to the lender. Everybody in life needs the leverage.
Wow.
The only problem,
TadeCash transfer.
the only problem is that some people are only a leverage to others. They are not nobody is a leverage to them. They are not. They are not leveraging anything. So what do you want to do? Borrowing is not bad. What is bad is what you borrow for. What you borrow for can be bad for you. But on its own, borrowing is not bad. So most people, as a result of that, they say, oh, no, me, I don't want to borrow. No, it's not about that. It's not about borrowing. Borrowing is like a sword. You can use it to defend yourself, or you can use it to destroy yourself. So what I'm borrowing for is more important than the borrowing. The purpose for borrowing is more important than borrowing. So what do I want to use my money for? I want to use part of my money to buy back my life, because time is life. So if I can use my money to buy back my time, I am using money well. So what do I want to do? I want to use part of my money to buy my equity. You see, one of the things that differentiate people, I say to people, you don't need to start a business to be wealthy. No, that is a fallacy of the world. The world have told people, you have to own your own business to be wealthy. No. By the way, many people that start their own business are going to end up poorer. Why? And I will tell you, this is the education of the rich. Why are they going to become poorer? Because you only become wealthy when you start a business, not because the business generates you income. You only become wealthy when you start a business because the business have an equity. What is an equity? An equity is something that can make you money in spite of yourself. In other words, if I work today and I'm working in an organization that can make me money, and I can use the money to buy an equity over time, and I'm using that money, I will still be working and I will be wealthy. Because what does it mean to be wealthy? Ability to be able to live my life without the financial worries. That means without depending on a paycheck. That means I'm using my money to buy equity. There are 5 equities in the world. Only 5 equities in the world. I call them 6 now. There are 6 equities in the world. The first equity in the world, if you want to be wealthy, is what I call customer equity. What does that mean? It means that every wealthy person builds equity. If you want to be wealthy, you must have equity. That means you must have a business that does not have, you can have a business and you don't have equity. That means if somebody buys from you and he only buys from you once, you don't have an equity. You don't have the data of the customer. All right? Guess what happened? That means there is no equity. You are depending on somebody that will show up again and buy something for you the next time. You cannot be wealthy that way. Do you have a business? Do you call yourself your own boss? But this is what I say to myself. When you subscribe to Netflix, when you buy something on Amazon will tell you to subscribe to the Prime so that they can deliver some goods to you for free. If you order between the number of this price, what are they doing? They are building equity. Because equity is a function of how many times this person is going to spend money with me. So if I have a business, and how many times will my customer buy from me in a year? Because that determines the lifetime value of the customer. How many times? So you have what we call customer equity. If you don't own a customer equity, you don't have a business. Because it's whoever owns a big customer that owns a business. Because the number of a business, the customer that you have that keep coming to you can make an investor to come to your business and buy the business from you. Because the customer can mean more to them than you. And they are willing to buy that business from you because of the equity. So anyone that wants to be rich must have an equity mentality. So the first equity is what I call customer equity. The second equity is what I call conversational equity. What does that mean? Conversational equity? Yes. Now, let me tell you, fame. Fame is one of the most effective business model in the world. If you are known in your career, it can be converted to fortune. All right? Because most people don't know how to use fame. Fame can lead to fortune if you know how to use it. Many people are famous and they are broke. Why? Because they don't have financial education to be able to convert the fame to fortune. Because fame is fleeting. Fame does not last. While you have it, you must use it. So visibility, if you are known, if you have 50,000 people on social media, let me tell you, you can convert it to money. If you have, if you are known for something, in other words, one of the things that you want to do, if you have this understanding, conversational equity. Fame is a conversational equity. It can be converted if you know how to do it. Do you see there are many musicians in the world? There are many artists in the world, like the Rihanna, the Beyonce. Guess what happened? They build names and they convert it to business. They convert it to fortune. The Kim Kardashians of this world. Guess what they do? They run shows and they are known and they begin to build different business equities because of that. So conversational equities is what people can do. I tell people, if you are starting business today, one of the root of things that you must do is to build visibility, because visibility will lead to profitability. One of the biggest enemy of business is obscurity. If you are not known, money can't flow to you. All right? The amount of money that will flow to you will be determined by the number of people that know you, not necessarily the number of people that you know. As far as business is concerned, the number of people that know you is more important than the number of people that you know. So many people don't have that in their career. They don't show up to be able to build some things, because you need to focus on building. This is education. It's a kind of education that we're not taught. It's called conversational equity. Now, quickly, the third one is what I call system equity. System equity. What does that mean? System. What system have you built in your life that other people can learn from? Okay, what have you mastered that other people are struggling with? Can you document it? Can you create something around it? Today, I have made a couple of thousands of dollars in my life, and I've made a couple of millions of dollars as well in my business, because I'm able to create system equity. What does that mean? Everything that works in your life has a system to it. Everything that has worked in your life has a system to it. Do you know that one of the ways to get paid in life, is to become a coach to your contemporaries? Okay? There are things that your contemporaries are struggling with that you have succeeded at. And what happens is you can develop a system around this thing and be able to use it. By the way, what is a system? A system is a principle and a pattern of order that renders confusion impossible. I will say that again. A system is a principle and a pattern of order that renders confusion impossible. A system is a principle and a pattern of order that renders confusion impossible. That anything that you have succeeded at that is a system can make you money. In other words, it can make you money without you. It can make you money because it's now a system. Somebody will write a book and it becomes a system. The book can be bought on Amazon. Amazon have a system of selling things. So people go put their product on Amazon. Amazon have created a system. That means there is a system. Everything in your life should be systemized. Everything in your life should be systemized. Don't take anything in your life for granted. That is how people create wealth. Everything that has worked in my life, in my business, I created a book out of it. You know why? Because I realized that empires are built in two dimensions. Empires are built in two dimensions: execution and education. That means that which you have that which you have executed, you can educate people on it. Most of us, we take for granted the things that we have mastered. Because we thought that what you have mastered, everybody have mastered it. But that's not true. The things that you have mastered, many people are struggling with it. Can you create a process around it? Can you create a checklist around it? And guess what? You can start by teaching it for free. You can start by giving a free bonus of it. But guess what happened? It is a system that can pay you, and it's an equity that can pay you for the rest of your life. Everyone that gets wealth build equity. So the third equity is system equity. The fourth one is asset equity. Asset equity. Asset equity. What is an asset? Asset is anything that can produce money for you, whether you are living or you are dead. Asset is anything that can keep making money for you, whether you are alive or you are dead. Asset equity. Asset equity. Guess what? Asset equity. Most people, one of the easiest way for many people to become wealthy is to have education of income producing asset. Massive income is good. Make more money. Make more pounds. Make more money. But let me tell you, you have to convert some of the money. You have to begin to develop the education of making some of the money you are making and let the money make money for you. So the money have to buy assets. Asset is anything that can make money for you, whether you are living or you are dead. It's an asset. It's an asset. It's an asset. When you Google online, you will see, you just Google things like the people that are dead but still making money. You will see some names, and it's very funny. They have gone for a while, but the asset they own is still making money for them. The asset is still making for them in royalties. It's still making for them in the things that they have put together over the years. What happened? You must create asset equity. In your wealth genotype, you must become an asset addict. You must become an asset addict. You must own assets. Don't joke with that. You must have assets. Many people are high in income, but they are deficit in assets. Many people are high in income, but they are deficit in assets. And this is very important. Don't just be high in income and be deficit in assets. Don't be. Because it's an equity that you must develop. It's an equity that you must develop. The next equity that you must develop is called network equity. Network equity. Network is an equity. Let me tell you. You must find a way to leverage your expertise. You must find a way to leverage things in your life. You must find a way to leverage, to get paid, not just from your labor, but to also get paid from other people's labor. You must find a way to get paid on that. You must find a way to make other people, do things that can also make you money without yourself. Network equity. Most people are not building this. I've mentioned 5 equities now. The question I'm asking is, how many of these equities are you building in your life? Lastly is what I call mentor equity. Mentor equity. The wealthy don't retire. The wealthy don't retire and be redundant. The wealthy retire and become a mentor. Okay? And they get paid for mentoring. That means that which you have succeeded at, other people can learn from it. And guess what happened? They will be able to pay you for that. At my level, at even my age now, I get paid to mentor other people. And the truth of the matter is, what am I mentoring them on? I'm mentoring them on what I have succeeded at in my life. So there is mental equity in life. And it's such a beautiful thing. So the more you succeed, the more other people want to learn from your success. And so your life becomes an example rather than being a warning. So because your life becomes an example and it's not a warning, people are willing to pay for that example. Because examples are expensive. So people are willing to pay for it. So what are you doing? How are you building equity in your life? How are you building these equities in your life? What are you doing to be able to create all of these things in your everyday life? Because you see, You have to begin to treat work as a game. You have to begin to treat time as a game. You have to begin to treat money as a game. And if it is a game, you have to play it. The truth, all of us are playing this game, but most of us are playing it wrongly. And if it is what you play, there is a rule. The truth is, to rule your world economically, you have to understand the rule and play by the rules. There is a rule for wealth. There is a rule for average life. There is a rule for being poor. Most people are sincere, but they are playing the wrong game. You need to begin to ask yourself, what equities am I building in my life? What equities am I building? These are the education that matters. These are the education that make people rich. These are the education that differentiate the wealthy from every other person in this world. So you have to begin to ask yourself, what equity am I creating? What system am I building? All right? You need to observe yourself every single time. What am I doing? What have I been able to do? What are people appreciating me for? Because you see, the more things that people are appreciating you for, the asset that is in it. Because whatever people appreciate you for is an asset. Because it's the only asset that I appreciate. So if people are appreciating you for something, people are saying you are good at a thing consistently and continuously, there is an asset in it. But many a time you take it for granted. If you want to be wealthy, you need clarity, not confusion. So you need to be clear. You need to consistently be clear about everything that you do. You need to be clear. If I appreciate you for something, if somebody else appreciates you for something, that thing is an asset in your life. That thing is an asset in your life. But the question is, because income follows asset. Income follows asset. So you need to uncover your asset for income to follow it. You need to build an asset for income to follow it. So what are you building? What asset are you building? What kind of education do you want to have going forward about time? What kind of education do you want to have about money? What kind of education do you want to have about work? These are fundamental. Your work must produce for you more than once. And this is very clear. As I begin to bring the conversation today to a close, I'd like to share a thought with you. And the thought is about the God of the Bible. It's quite interesting and very interesting. I read in the Bible many years ago, and I still read it almost all the time, that the God of the Bible created, the earth. And after that, he said everything that he created produced after his kind. Wow, everything produced after his kind. I mean, everything was producing after his kind. And the more everything produced after his kind, then he rested. He rested. The question is, why did God rest? He rested because what he created can create. So, if I want to get into financial rest, my work must be able to produce for me beside my own production. That means what God produced reproduces. That means the earth remains today because the human being that is created also produces another human being. That is the same thing with money. I love what Mr. John said about money maternity world. Excuse me. The money maternity world is like your money making babies. The question is your money making babies for you or your money is barren? How many times are you going to be paid for a one-time work? God worked for 6 days, and the effect of his work is still here today. So what you earn must earn. What you make must make. In other words, if your work cannot produce for you many times, make sure that part of what your work makes for you can produce for you many times. I will say that again. If your work cannot produce for you many times, make sure that the proceed of your work can produce for you many times. When you do like that, you are thinking as God, not just thinking of God. Many people think of God, but they don't think as God. If you want to enter financial rest, you must have this kind of education that only God can produce. What kind of education is that? Make sure that what you produce produces. Make sure that what you earn earns for you. Make sure that what you make something extra. In other words, God do all of that. And when I saw that, I was extremely fascinated, because what God makes. So I look at my life today. As a young person, at the age of 25, I was not raised by wealthy parents, but I stumbled on a man when I was 25, and he started educating me. He was quite a wealthy man. He started educating me on what I eventually call the education of the rich. And my privilege and what I was taught, by the time I was 27 going to 28, I made $1 million for myself from the business I was doing. And that led me to a couple of things in my life: buying assets, building apartments, being able to do business in about 10, 13 African countries at the moment. Why? Because my education changed, therefore my life changes. And remember what I said at the beginning. Financial education is the money seedling of the rich. Money has a seed, money have a tree, but for that tree to be planted, you need a seedling. The seedling is a conversation that we are having. So the God of the Bible does not just produce something. He makes sure that what he produces, produce. So what am I saying to you? Whatever you make should make something. Part of what you earn should earn you something. Let your money make babies. Let your money have grandchildren. And you know what? The joy of parenting is the grandchildren. The children bring joy. The grandchildren bring more joy. The same thing. Your money should have grand money. So that is education. And that is a way to think as God. I want to leave you with this thought. You need to begin to think as God in your journey. Begin to see that your money is a seed. You must plant part of it. Nature taught us one thing: seed. My education may not be totally correct, but I've never seen in my own life, if you have seen, please correct me, I've never seen a seed that is sweet. That means seed was not meant to be eaten. Seed was meant to be planted. So if I eat seed, nature is telling me that I'm doing the wrong thing. What does that mean? Part of my money must be a seed. He that spends all that he has is engaging in financial futility, because in what you earn is a seed to earn you more. That is why people face financial bitterness. Seed is not meant to be sweet, because nature is sending us a message that is not meant to be sweet. But the fruit that a seed produces is sweet. What that means is that the seed is meant to be planted, invested, to produce something. Because a good man will leave an inheritance for his children. What does children means? When people tell me what they have is enough, I tell them they don't understand something. Inheritance is not about your children alone. Inheritance is about your children. That means the children that your children has should also be taken care by the asset that you build. The children that your children have should also enjoy part of the equity that you created. A good man and a good woman leave an inheritance for children. My last word. I say this and it's very tough, but permit me. I say to people, if you're not going to leave anything behind, don't leave anyone behind. It's tough because we are not meant to start from the scratch. We are meant to start from leverage. Some of you watching today, you knew what it takes you to get to where you are today. If leverage was given to you, perhaps you will have done better than you have done. But you have to work all the way. You have to do all that you have done just to be able to start from where you started from. So I want to tell you today that you need to begin to think as God, not just think of God. Religion make you think of God, but spirituality make you think as God. So what that means is that you imitate God in your doings. How does God create? What does God do? The creativity of God, the multiplication formulas of God, and how God think of equity, not just liability. How God think of assets, not just borrowing. And therefore I begin to go in that way. Because if I imitate God, I can never be limited in my affairs. So thank you for this opportunity. I hope you have learned from the conversation about time. You have learned from the conversation about work. You have learned from the conversation about money. This is education that changes everything. And this is what I changed my own life, and I believe you can change yours. Thank you, Mr. George, for the invite.
Yeah. Well done, Tade. Well done. There's going to be questions now. If you know you have questions, please just raise up your hands, and then I'm going to call you according to how I have it on my screen. Thank you so much, Tade. Thank you. I have one person there ready for a question for you. I'll just go straight to question session. Ifoma or Basi. Go ahead, Ifoma or Basi, if you ask a question. Unmute yourself, and then I'll take you straight away. If Ifoma is not ready, I'll go to the next person, AJ. AJ, please unmute yourself and ask your question, please. Is it AJ or JA? Go ahead, JA. I'll go straight to the next person, Peter Zion. Unmute yourself and ask your question, please.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to appreciate the facilitator of this program and our guest. The Almighty God will bless you, sir. I really do appreciate. This is not the first time I hear you speak. Sometimes last year I dabbled into your teaching, and I was richly blessed. And to be honest with you, I'm blessed. My question is this: what will it cost us to bring you to Shagamu? That's my question. Please, sir, I'm begging. Yes, I'm begging. Minister George is my Oga. He will help us facilitate that to bring you life to Shagamu. That's my question.
Okay.
Now, the reason for that question, is this. I have a lot of people around me. You know, I'm a young pastor managing a very young, mighty cathedral. Let me put it, be positive. But the truth is that, sir, if you visit my church, you visit me, you will just come and see that why are these people so wretched, so poor? Let me use that word. I feel that maybe God wants us to do something with their life. It's not just to make heaven. We cannot be too heavily conscious and be earthly useless. So it's not just to make heaven. Maybe God wants us to raise the standard of life for them. So what do we do? It's not something that I can do alone. I need a helping hand. And the Bible says two are better than one. Thank you, sir.
Yes, TadeCash, go ahead with the second part of the question. The first part of the question, Pastor Zion, don't worry. We have Tade with us. But let's get to the second part of the question. Tade, go ahead, please.
Okay, so one of the things that I've come to realize that poverty is very stubborn. All right.
This is huge.
It's a poverty. Everybody, please type that on the chat group. Poverty is very stubborn.
This is huge.
Go ahead.
You know, and that's why, you know, you can't change a poor man to become rich. What you can do for a poor man is to get him to feel like getting rich. Because the truth of the matter is, many a time, people have done that at their own detriment. You know, you have one family member back in Nigeria that has been disturbing you. Every time he talks to you, you have been trying to talk to the person somehow, and you just notice that this person is not ready to change. The truth is, you cannot change people. People must come to the point of acceptance to change. And this is what I tell people. When there is no hunger is personal. You cannot transfer it. When people don't have the hunger to change, there is nothing you can do for them. So for me, the most important part of, there's a pastor here today. Is showing up on the screen. Some members will never show up. A pastor will show up. The truth of the matter is the difference between people in life is the hunger that they have. Now, for me, I don't have a problem with helping people, but I want to help people that want to be helped. So if people are not ready to be helped, I don't have the luxury of time in life to be wasting my time to help people that don't want to be helped. So the understanding about life is that no one is designed to be poor, but people are poor because they do things wrongly. That's the honest truth. And I tell people, I live in Nigeria. Nigeria is tough, but the truth of the matter is there is plenty of money in it. And it's the education that I have that has separated me and many other people. So what happened is this: everywhere that people are, in the UK, everywhere, we have education that can transform our lives. And we must take this education seriously and begin to create assets, begin to create fortune that can change our life. What is the first thing? You need clarity. You need to know what exactly you want. You need to know what you want to do. You need to know where you want to go. I don't have a problem. If I look at my schedule, I don't have a problem coming to Shagamu, as long as my team will figure out where exactly is it in Shagamu. But the point is, most importantly, is to get this understanding that wealth is a plan, not a prayer point. So if I don't have a plan and I pray all my life, nothing will change. Wealth is first a plan before a prayer point. So most people pray, God. I tell people, if you pray for money and God sends pounds from heaven, it's fake. Because pounds is meant to be for the people of the Britain. So what happened is that it cannot be sent. You have to make pounds, you have to make naira, you have to make dollars. Men will make the money. It means that I need the laws and the understanding that will make me convert that which I know into the resources of the earth. If I don't know that, it's not going to happen. And that's what happened to people. And so I think what we should do, and the understanding we should have, is to begin to take our education serious. This is what I say to people. Knowledge will build you, but you must first acquire the knowledge. Knowledge will build you, but you must first acquire the knowledge. So most people, they have the knowledge that cannot help them, rather than building the knowledge that can change them. So go for the knowledge. Go for the knowledge. Be hungry for knowledge. Treat knowledge as gold and silver. Go for it. Cry for it. You have to cry for it. At the moment you have it, everything will change. I hope that helped.
Yeah, thank you. I know there is more, but I'll take the one coming in from the chat group. It said, Tade, listen to this now. What are the best assets to start cash flow generation? How much do I realistically need to get started?
Okay, so there are many different levels of assets. Remember, assets are in 4 classes. There is business asset, there is real estate asset, there is paper asset, and there is commodity asset. Now, number one is based on your education. Remember, the most important thing about investing is not investing, because it's not all investors, it's not all the people that invest that are investors. What makes an investor is education. That means you are properly educated in what you want to invest in. Most people invest without properly educated, and at the end of the day, some people will say, somebody has scammed me. Most of the time, nobody scam anybody. It's just that people, you scam yourself. Why? Because you are not properly educated. So the first thing I will advise is that know the kind of asset. So if it is real estate you want to do, get education on it. All right? Get education on it. Observe, be educated, invest some money into your education, so that when you are making investment, you are making investment based on your decision, not an emotion. Because most people invest on emotion and they are wondering why things are not going well. So I will advise this. You can do real estate, you can do business, you can invest in paper assets, but this is what happened. Be educated in the asset that you want to put your money in. The moment you have proper education, I think it will work. For me, I do business asset and real estate. I have an integration of both. But what I'm saying is I'm educated on it, and I keep getting education on it. And the point for me is that I control my risks and I maximize my gain. How can I do that? Because of my education. So my first advice would be, do not be in a hurry to invest, but go for education. The moment you are, and that's why I love what George is doing, man. It's making sure that we have the proper education.
Yeah.
So that as we have better education, we make a better decision. Because if you want to make money, investing is not risky. Not knowing what you are doing is what is risky. And the only way you don't know what you are doing is because you are not properly educated about what you're doing. Anybody can put money into something. But because I put money into something, does not mean I'm educated in that thing. And so, what does that mean? You have to be educated. All the asset class can make you money. And all the asset class can make you lose money. What happened is because it is a number, it's a category of education you have. Now, I tell people I can close my eyes and make money in real estate. Why? I've been doing this for 15 years. I've been educated in this for the last 15 years of my life. In other words, so there is asset I can see anywhere. I mean, by now I've invested in almost 15 countries. And I can tell you, people wonder, how do you know this thing is going to make money? Because I did not start today. It's not instinct. It's by design. So what I tell people is the first thing you need to do is be educated. Get the right education about the asset you want to invest in, and it's going to change your life. I hope that helped you, please.
Okay, just to add to what you said, Tade, I just put something on the chat group. I said rich people are not rich because they have money. I said rich people have money because they are rich. Awesome. I will repeat that again. He said rich people are not rich because they have money. Rich people have money because they are rich. It just means that they became rich, first of all, in their mind before the physical money showed up. So that education is the key. You need to educate your mind. How much do you know about money? Like I will always say and use the word, investigate before you invest. How much do you know? I'll take the next question. The hands is up. Omatobe Vito. Omatobe Vito, unmute yourself and then ask your question, please. Prof.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Mr. George, and our tonight lecturer. It's been a wonderful time. I'm really blessed with this teaching tonight, and I just want to say that I've gotten a kind of new education tonight, most especially the way you explain the aspect of the equity. You know, as an accountant, I used to know equity in a different form, but you've explained it tonight in a very better way. And of course, I just want to say that I'm really blessed. I just to appreciate you and also to appreciate Minister George for this kind of program. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. We go to Ifoma. Ifoma is still there. Ifoma Obasi, unmute yourself now and ask your question, please. The hand is still up. I think Ifoma has the hand has been up. I'm not too sure if that's the question coming in. Okay, I think I have got Zion. Is Zion still asking another question? I think Zion have asked the question. I think first I want to appreciate our guest today. Tade, thank you so much. You see, I'll tell you for something what happened. I read the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. And that book, Tade, though we have actually, I reviewed it on our page. You know, please let me quickly say this. You know, all you had Tade saying may not just you may need to go back to it again over and over again. You have 99% of anything you write down. You have that 99% chances of making it to come to reality if you write it down. The Bible said, write the vision. He said, write the vision. So maybe he was so fast while he was doing his teaching, which at least we have some write-up on the chat group or page. But I want you to go to our YouTube page. You are going to get all of this teaching. Go to the YouTube page, go back to it, settle down, go back to it again, and then start writing down. Today also have a very good page that you are going to start following from today. Before he's going to go, he's going to tell us the page. I've been following him for years, so I can't tell you what that page has done for me. But just to let you know, in terms of the relationship I was talking about, if you check out the two guys in The Richest Man in Babylon. They were three friends. They were together, but one was very wealthy. But the two of them were not. So a day came, they made up decision to go and meet up with this of their friend that was very wealthy, and they wanted to know. You see the word know. The root word for knowledge is know. The root word for knowledge is know. They wanted to know, how come you became so wealthy? But watch this. What drew that two friends to this of their friend is relationship. That's number one. Number two, do you know when the rich friend now was telling them, do you know what he told them? He said he had an encounter with another person who was very, very wealthy. You see, let me tell you, Paul, the truth. Your relationship is key. And that's why I said, who you follow will determine what follows you. And that's why I'm following TadeCash very, very closely. Our relationship has been built, and I want to say I'm very, very grateful to you, Tade. To be sincere with all of you, we didn't pay Tade £1 to be on this platform. I can tell all of you. We didn't pay him not even a pound to be on this platform. I can tell you. But you see, what he have is relationship. But because I have an understanding, TadeCash is not going to just go like that without sending something into his account. Certainly something is going to get into your account, but the relationship is the key, which we already have. You know, this is just the beginning. More people now, you now know him. He has built this. He didn't ask for money while he was coming into this platform. He came via relationship, which I think is important. And that is what I want to beg all of you. You see, he talked about network equity. If he had time to speak on network equity, he's going to tell you that it has to do with people. Money follow people. Where you see people, you see money. So network equity is talking about, remember, he also said something. He said, if I remember, he said, it's not about the people that you know. It's about the people that knows you. You see, he said it's not all about the people that you know, but it's about the total number of people that know you. You see, so thank you, everybody. I have Ameze Osazuwa raising up the hand there. Go ahead, Ameze Osazuwa. Go ahead, please.
Good evening, Brother George.
Good evening, man.
And good evening, Brother Shade. Thank you so much for this educative class you have given us. You know, like the other uncle said before, that he knows a little bit about equity. But today you actually broaden it up. Like, you know, I am really, really so excited. And I want to say a big thank you to you and to George for organizing this program. What I want to ask, I don't know if every other person will be requesting this. You know, when you say educate yourself about, you know, what you want, how you want to build your way, what you want to invest in. I don't know if you can throw more light on the kind of education, because I, for one, I read, I go online to find out things about investments and all that. But even as at that, I have not been able to say to myself that I understand it so much, because my line of specialization is different. I didn't do economics. I didn't do any of those marketing stuff. So kind of, it's a bit difficult, despite the fact that I am just using my own little shallow initiative to do my investment. So it's not something that I really know so well. So when you say educate yourself, just if you can tell us what we should do. Is it just going online, or following someone on YouTube, or having a special course? So if you could please, you know, throw a bit more light on that. Thank you.
Go ahead, Tade. Go ahead, please.
All right, so thank you very much for asking that question. It's a question of clarity. Now, when I mean educating yourself, it's not necessarily, you know, education is broad, and education is not just about somebody reading a book. All right. So, for instance, there are a couple of people. Let me give you a practical example. This morning, one of my mentees invited me for the opening of his office right here in Lagos. And this was a young man that met me last year, I think early last year, in an event. And when he met me in an event, he told me that he would like to develop a portfolio of real estate, and he has never done anything like that before in his life. So he came to my office right in Maryland, Lagos, and then he had sections with me. He paid me a lot of money though. And then he asked me to hold him by the hands to be able to show him how to get this thing going with his life. So the kind of education that he needed was an hand-on education. So what I'm talking about when I talk about education is this: as I am in several areas of my life, like for instance, let me give you an instance again. I wanted to raise some 20 million US dollars for some particular investment. At the time, I don't know how to do that. All right, I don't know how to do it, and so I have to know someone that knows how to do that kind of education. And I went to him. All right, I surrender myself to that person for me to be educated. Now, yes, he recommended things for me to read, but this is a practical book before me. He has done this several times. He has done business in India. He has raised money for business in all over the continent. So I am understudying him because he has done what I wanted to do in terms of raising money. And guess what? In the course of doing that, I was able to replicate what he has done because I educate my mind. Now, what I mean education, if you want to invest, let's say for instance, in a particular business, you want to grow a particular business, who has done that kind of thing before? Is there any proximity you can enjoy with that person? Or is that a very understudy you can do about that person, all right, that can make sure that you do? Mr. George rightly said it. We have been having conversation now for a while, and when he told me some things, I was shocked. He has watched a lot of my videos, and I'm wondering, like, what's going on here? Now, the truth is, when he's talking to me now, guess what happened? He's able to bring me on this program today because when he was talking to me, he was sounding familiar. Even when he started talking, that's when I now realized, okay, because you see, it's more or less that our thought is now synchronized. So when he's talking, it's like I'm talking to myself. When I'm hearing his voice, like I'm hearing my voice. Now, that's what happened when I'm talking about education. So education that we're talking about is a deliberate education about the areas of life that you want to grow into. All right. I said to people, we have functional fathers and we have biological fathers. Who is a functional father? A functional father is somebody that has gone ahead in what you want to get done in your life. The person could be younger than you in age, but he has gone ahead in what you want to go ahead on. You understudy the person. It's like a father to you. He's a functional person. He knows. He has done what you are dreaming of. Okay, he has mastered what you want to master. Now you are going to experience shortcuts in life. So, like what you asked, what do you need to do? It's not just about the book. Yet, book can help, and book helps a lot. It means that you're not just reading theoretical book. You are reading books of people that have done what you want to do. If they have videos, you watch their videos. The things they have done. You want to study them deeply, and then you begin to see the patterns. When you study things, you are studying for patterns. What pattern does this person have? Okay, how has this person be able to do what it does? How does it take actions? How does it think? Then I begin to imitate that and replicate that in my life. That's what I mean by education. And sometimes, if you can have a person that has done what you want to do, okay, you can then begin to see how you can walk through the life of that person to replicate. Why? Because you will not have to make some certain mistake again. Because the mistake you will have made, the person has made it on your behalf. So you can learn like that, you can educate yourself like that. Read some fundamentals of it, is read some book. Like he said, the book Richest Man in Babylon, it's not just a book, it's a pattern. If you ever come across that book, at the first reading, it look boring. You'll be wondering what kind of story are this one telling. But the point is, if you read it again and you read it again and you begin to become observant around you, you begin to see the reality of that book all around you, and then you are seeing a pattern, and then you begin to replicate that pattern in your life. And guess what happened? Like he said, somebody picked one of the lessons of the last class, and the person called and said, man, what you shared worked. Because you see, you cannot know what works until you do it. You are not God. God is the omniscience. God is the one that does not need to test a thing to know whether it will work. Humans have to test it to know whether it will work, because we are not omniscient. We do things to know whether it works or not. So what I'm saying is the education that you need is already around you. Be sure about what you want, and then go for who can help you. For instance, if you follow me online, you will love wealth. Why? Because almost all day I'm talking to you about wealth. I'm talking to you about
Money.
from money tonight. You are going to be wondering. So if you don't like wealth, you will just sign me out. Like, what happened? So I'm just giving you the emphasis. I'm sharing my behind the scene with you. I'm sharing, okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing videos. I'm doing all of these things. Why? Because that's how you get education. And then education will not be useful if you don't apply it. So learn something and then apply it continuously, and you begin to get the results that will help you. I think that will help. Education begins with a book, observation, practice. Begin to observe people and begin to see who has done what I want to do, who is doing what I want to do. How can I learn from them? Do they have any course I can do that is speaking in that direction? Do they have any book I can read that is going in that direction? As you do all of that, you begin to pick up things. And because you're an intelligent person, these things, you will now begin to apply it in the concept that it can help you directly. That's what I believe you should do right now. And that's kind of education you should have as well. I hope that helps.
Yeah, thank you, Tade. In fact,
Yes.
for the richest man in Babylon, I did a summary of it. It's right on the page. If you type, in fact, quite a number of you are not following that page yet. Was it just yesterday? No, day before yesterday, I've reviewed close to about 8 books also added to that page. Go type George Owen. Look out for the Renew Mind with George Owen. Renew Mind. Type on YouTube. Just type George Owen. You will see the page there. Like and subscribe on that page so that you'll be the first. Very soon we'll be monetizing it. We have to actually pay to be a member or to subscribe to be actually part of that particular page. But now it's free. Just type straight George Owen, or you type the Renew Mind. You'll see the page. The richest man in Babylon has, in fact, under 5 minutes, I actually summarized it, because what is important in a book is the principle. The principle is the key. So instead of spending hours to just go straight to that page, like that page now as we are speaking, and ensure that you follow the page. And also, Tade, please go ahead, tell us your page so that they can like and also follow you in all social media platforms. Tade, go ahead, please.
Okay, so thank you very much. So on Facebook, you follow me on TadeCash. TadeCash is a page. You follow me on TadeCash. On YouTube, you can also follow me on TadeCash TV. All right. So you see a lot of videos. I have done a lot of videos for you. Okay, they can help you money, how to navigate the time, how to navigate all manner of stuff in terms of wealth creation, the principle, the secret of some people, how they build their wealth. I share the principle, just like what you said, and the pattern. So on YouTube, you can follow me. You'll subscribe to my YouTube page. It's going to help you. On Facebook is TadeCash. Okay. On Instagram is just official TadeCash. All right. So that is what it is. But Facebook, most importantly, I'm there almost all the time. My post is always programmed there. It's TadeCash. And then YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel or my YouTube videos. Is going to help you a lot. That is it. At TadeCash TV.
Yeah. Thank you. Daddy talk about the education, which is also mindset, because it's the educated mind that will ensure that you produce something that may be meaningful. Whether you will do well or you will not do well, it starts to do with the mindset. And what's the formula? Please write this down. Here's the formula. Let me give you a formula for it. It is mindset times skill set times 2 sets that will give you assets. I'll repeat that again. It is mindset times skill set times 2 sets that will end up giving you assets. And income, just like Tade said, we follow asset. I think this is where we're going to call it a close. We have our next, I think the coordinator should be here. Barrister Kenny. Barrister Kenny, are you here? When next is strategic foresight in wealth creation? Barrister Kenny, are you here?
Yes, good evening.
Go ahead.
Let
Witness, go
me.
ahead and then say thank you. Go ahead and close
Okay, so it's going to be on the ninth. It's going to be on the ninth.
on the ninth.
Ninth of. Yes, please.
So
Yes,
please,
of March.
on the 9th of March, we'll be meeting here again. Strategic
Yes.
foresight in work creation on the 9th of March. Can you go ahead, say thank you, and then I think that's all.
Yes, thank you so much, TadeCash. It's my singular honor to, on behalf of this platform, the New Mind, to officially appreciate you. Thank you for who you are. Thank you for the principle. You have taught us about time. You've taught us about work and about money today. And I know that we have gained a lot. And I want to sincerely believe that when next we call you, you will answer us. We are sincerely grateful. And I say, God bless you indeed. Thank you so much.
Sorry, let me quickly take Fabiana. Fabiana DC, go ahead. I think your hand is up. I'll take that lastly, and then that'll be it. Go ahead, Fabiana.
All right, sir. Good evening, sir. Oh, thank you so much, TadeCash. Oh, that was awesome. I want to appreciate everybody. I just have a quick question, please. For example, you have done all your research, you've got the cash, you've got the education, but you are fighting with time factor, you are fighting with time. Possibly you've got so much on your plate. So what do you do in that situation, please?
So just find a way to leverage. The entirety of life. The entirety of life is about leverage. So for me, I believe that lack of time should not be the reason why things should not be done. One of the things I've learned in my life in the last 15, 17 years of doing business is that two things will never stop me from doing something. Money will not stop me, and time will not stop me. All right? Because what happened? Yeah. Somebody already has the time and somebody already has the money. So that means that what I need to do is to find a proper synchronization and a proper partnership. I keep saying something to people. I said, if I'm going to be an animal, I'm going to prefer to be a spider. Why? Because spider will teach a simple lesson. What is the lesson of a spider? You don't need to build a palace to live in one. So that means that the spider lives in the palace. It doesn't build it. So the moment you can find a way, that means you find someone that already have the strength and has a time that can do and have the right spirit that can do a collaboration with you. You will still get your result without being limited by time. And that's what I think should be your thing. It's not about how, it's about who. Who can I put on board with me right now so that I can leverage time so that I can create what I want to create, and the person can also feel good working with me so that we can all move to the next level. Think about leverage. Leverage growth is what you need right now, and it's one of the best kept secret of the wealthy. The wealthy thinks leverage all the time, all right? Because I can't do it all by myself. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay. Once you close from this platform now, go back. You remember in one of our class, I was telling you about Navida stock. I talk about Navida stock. Go and check what Navida stock is selling today. Your mind will be blown away. I told you it's going to get to 1,000. It's going to get there, but go and check what it's selling today. As at the time I told you, it was, I think, 712. As at today, it is 788.7. That's additional of 76 added already. Don't waste time. In fact, all you need to do first, like I will always advise, go and investigate. Get knowledge. I beg you. Thank you, everybody, for staying tuned with me. It's on the 9th of March. On the 9th of March. Thank you, TadeCash. We are grateful that you were here. Thank you. Just to let you know, I think my own very pastor is here. Like, he said something. He said the pastors will be here. He said, but how did you say it? You said something about that.
I said, pastors will be here. The people that are supposed to be here in the church will not be there.
They will not be here. My very pastor, Apostle Sunday, Daddy, I'm really grateful. Thank you for supporting your prayers, for everything. In fact, part of what I do now is actually from my Father in the Lord. I can tell you, part of all I do is encouragement. Everything I can tell you I do is just all about Apostle Sunday Iyi. Thank you, Apostle Sunday Iyi, for all that you have done for me. I'm grateful. I'm really grateful. Thank you, sir, for supporting and for all you do for humanity. God bless all of you. Thank you. See you again on the 9th of March. God bless you. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, TadeCash. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you.
God bless you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, bye, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Thank you for joining. Former, thank you, Pastor Zion. Thank you. Apostle Sunday has something to say. Hold on. Apostle Sunday, that's my very pastor. Daddy, let me bring you on. Apostle Sunday Iyi. Go ahead, Daddy. His hand is up. Unmute yourself. I'm not too sure. I think Apostle Sunday hand was up. I think he was going to say something.
I think you want to unmute yourself.
Is Apostle Sunday still there? But anyway, thank you guys. Thank you for joining. God bless you. Thank you, Fabiana. Thank you, Ameze. Thank you, Tella Uni. Thank you, Matube, Professor Matube. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Who am I
sir.
seeing there? Who am I seeing? I want to see more people to tell all of you. Thank you. Amechi, thank you. Cynthia Bright, thank you. Fidelis, thank you. Florence Osunde, thank you. Fumi Ipomosa, my namesake, thank you. Jerry Hiyi, thank you so much. Ola Olufemi, thank you so much for joining. Matilda Owen, Matilda Emmanuel, thank you for joining. Muwe Sosasu, thank you for joining. I think I don't know if Apostle Sunday. Yes, Apostle Sunday is here now. Go ahead, Apostle Sunday. Go ahead.
Just to say thank you for putting up such a beautiful teaching section. We're quite grateful, and I must say that we've really benefited, and we are proud to have you, what you're doing, and God will bless you. TadeCash, the Lord bless you and imbue you with more wisdom and strength.
Amen.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you. My thank you. See, go on. Sunday, Edo Giawere, thank you for joining. Victor Okoge, thank you for joining. I don't know if I got that right. Minister Victoria Sadiq.
Yes, thank
you for joining. Thank you. William Silomina, thank you for joining. God bless you. Olawore Abosede, thank you for joining. Bola is Akisha, thank you for joining. More people, in fact, so much. Ajayi Oluwasegun, thank you for joining. God bless you all. I'll see you on the 9th of March. God bless you all. Thank you.